I would have those panic attacks and anxiety, because I would think to myself, is he standing there, is he looking, what if he comes and tries to touch me at night? But oh my gosh, he wouldn't do that because we are colleagues, like, guys, you never know. I was so scared.
You're really something good. Now we get here so damn fast. Only you can tell me that, baby, because I'm coming back.
So welcome back to my channel. If you are new on this channel, and if you are a returning subscriber, thank you so much for your continuous support. So you guys, I was about to leave the house and I decided, let me just sit down quickly and do the story time, because it's been eating me for the past, I think, 12 hours. Like, I was just thinking to myself, hey, you know what, I'm a daughter at the pits. I won't get back most of them. So just to quickly get into the story, please subscribe subscribe to my channel. So this happened, I think, in the year 2014 when I first moved to Johannesburg. So that was my first time getting employed and all of that. So I just finished my degree, and then I needed to obviously start working. And then at the time, because I was obviously studying in KZN. Those who do not know, I am from KZN, Durban to be precise. And then so at university we knew each other because like we would attend the same majors, so within the same majors we knew each other. We built friendships, or just, let me say friendships for the sake of this story. So in this story, the main character, which is the man in question, I am just going to call him by his surname, because I do not remember his name. But I will call him by his surname specifically because, wow, I cannot believe what yes sis. Like, I feel like I've been experiencing such bad experiences when it comes to men, specifically from that specific surname. So if you want to find out more, please do continue watching. Right, so let's get into the story. 2014, I get a job. So what happened, I didn't even apply for this job initially. So one of the people who were at the same university as me was already working at the school. So he phoned me. He was like, yo, listen, there's a post here at work and you qualify, they need someone who can teach this and this, and you came in mind, and I know you qualify, so are you interested? And I'm like, okay, cool, sharp. So I tell my parents. At home everyone is like, but then obviously because it's work, so they're like, okay, no, it's fine, you can go. So at the time, because it was my first time leaving, to a different province, so my mom accompanied me. We went to Johannesburg for the first time. Luckily, I had an aunt in Johannesburg, so she was able to show us around. We went to the school together, and obviously they left. They had to leave, and I was left alone with these people. Luckily, I already knew the one guy who used to be my mates at university. So he was like, no, I'll show you around. And then eventually another guy who also went to the same university as us came to join the school. So eventually I was like, okay, cool, sharp, I can cope with this. But then now, problem day one, the principal is like, oh, actually we don't know where you are going to stay, but we do have a room here at school. Mind you, the school was is in Soweto, Orlando East. So I think to myself, there is no way I'm going to live in a school where there's no strict or strong security. It's in a township. I'm going to be here alone. I'm 21. I'm still very young. There is no way. There is absolutely no way. And what did the female teachers do? They ignored me. Like, I feel like, yabona, when it comes to teaching in South Africa, female teachers, especially the old gang, yabona, the old gang, abo bangona abo 40 something, yabo, but make 50 something, yale, they are so bitter. Most of them, they are so bitter. So they couldn't help me. Obviously they've got homes, they've got husbands, so I assume maybe they thought, oh, you know what, I'm this young girl, maybe I'm a threat, whatever the case may be. But they didn't help. So eventually I was left at school and everyone had left, and at that time it was around 2:30, so everyone was like signing out, bye bye bye. And then the principal was so worried, so I spoke to the friend who got me this job, and I was like, yo dude, where am I going to sleep? So he was like, because unfortunately at that time he was staying with his daughter, he was like he cannot help me, and also his apartment was very small, so he was like he couldn't help me, and he was so stressed because now you know the vibes, guys, Johannesburg. So he's like, yo listen, I have an idea, I'm going to speak to one of the male teachers, do you mind staying with them for a while until you get paid, and then you can be able to afford to move out and all of that. I'm like, sure, as long as he's cool, I just need a place to sleep. So he speaks to one of this guy, his name is Udlamin because we used to call him by his surname, so anyway, Dlamini is like, yo cool, no problem, she can stay in my house for as long as she needs, it's fine. Udlamini had a car, so everything was pretty much easy. I was like, okay cool, actually this is great, so it means I have transportation, I have shelter. What else do I need? I just need to buy some groceries, because I did have some money to buy groceries, but I didn't have enough money to obviously get an apartment, buy furniture. It was my first time working, and at home the situation wasn't so great because my aunt just got married, so she just moved out and she was the breadwinner at the time. So I had to do what I had to do. Fine, I moved into Udlamini's house, and it's a beautiful house in Snake Park. He has like an outside building, so I'm like, oh, I can stay in this outside building. He's like, no, actually I've got a tenant. I'm like, okay cool, so since you have a big house, surely you'll have like a nice room for me. So inside the house is like, oh, I've got 2 bedrooms, and the 1 bedroom is an office, and then obviously his main bedroom. But luckily one of the living areas had no furniture because he just purchased the house at the time, I think, so it had no furniture but a bed. So he's like, no, you can use this area. But now guys, imagine a living room connected to a dining room, and I was supposed to sleep in the dining area. There was no door, so there's no privacy. So I'm like, okay cool, sharp, it's fine, I can use this. So I'll come here to sleep, and then if I want to shower and stuff, I'll just to dress up, I'll use the bathroom and all of that. Fine. Days go by, week 1, sharp, smooth, we are happy, we get along. I'm just trying to make sure time passes by so that I can get paid and bounce. So fine, at home they do not know. I didn't tell my parents because they were gonna freak out. Like, they were just going to say, abort mission, come back home, you are not going to stay with a man we don't know in Johannesburg. Like, what the F is that? So I'm there, new city, like I'm basically in a foreign land, I'm staying with this man that I don't know. Like, at night I couldn't sleep, like, you guys, it was so bad. I would have those panic attacks and anxiety because I would think to myself, is he standing there, is he looking, what if he comes and tries to touch me at night? But oh my gosh, he wouldn't do that because we are colleagues, like, guys, you never know. I was so scared. But anyway, I had to just chin it up all the time. I would pray that God, please just protect me from anything wrong that could happen in this house. So fine, week 2, I'm like, yo listen, I need to go buy some groceries, so I can cook. Obviously you are helping me out with accommodation and stuff, and at home they would send me money to buy food, so I was able to just go to the shops, get some food for the month. Right, so he's like, okay cool, sharp, we'll go to a nearby grocery store. I'm like, cool. So we go there, and then we bump into one of his I guess maybe friends or whatever, but I could tell that the friend was, because at that time I was very young, so I couldn't read everything between the lines, but I could tell the way the vibes were going, or it seemed like maybe the guy was like, oh wait, Nalo, and he looked so confident. Like, that guy looked so confident whenever he was walking around with me. Like, you could tell he was just like excited. He wanted people to see him. You know what, I'm not alone, I've got someone. Because obviously he was a bachelor and he wasn't so good looking. I think he was just a guy in Jay, but he wasn't the typical guy that, you know, a lot of women would find attractive, maybe based on how he, I don't know, how he dressed up. But I was not attracted to him. So obviously, you know, but he was just a guy in Jay. Obviously he was helping me out, so I had to laugh when he says a joke. I had to just, you know. But anyway, so fast forward, I can start to see the vibes, and he's like, oh, listen, we need to go to church. So Minage, I go to church. I'm like, okay, cool, sharp, I will join, it's fine. I have nothing to do on Sundays, it's whatever. So it's like, cool, we'll go to church, and then, you know, so that you can get used to this type of thing. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. But then I start to realize that, hey, get used to this type of thing, and what's going on, because I'm just here for a while. But I'm like, okay, you know what, let me be chilled, I need accommodation, so let's go to church. So we go to church. I'm sitting there like, okay, yeah, it's going, it's, you know. So at church, I can see people are like, hey, is this you? You know. But I'm like, okay, let me mize this energy, because I'm not here for this. This is church. So at church, then yeah, I think he went to maybe the priest or whoever to say that I'm a new member, because suddenly they were like, oh, so we have a new member and you need to come forward. And I had to go forward, and I don't really remember what I had to do, but I remember they had to accept me into the church, because now I am apparently the new church member and stuff. So I was like, you know what, this is not my type of church, because now I was, you know, raised as a Methodist church member. So that was new to me. I was like, you know what, this is not the vibe. But then again, I am here because I need accommodation, you guys. You know what, I hate this thing of, and I told myself from there forward, no matter what happens in life, but I'll always try to make sure I don't find myself in a similar situation where I have to depend on someone for accommodation, especially maybe a colleague or a friend, or I don't know. But I never want to see myself in that similar situation. So hey guys, things were tricky. So eventually I was like, okay, cool, you know what, now that I know where the church is, now that I know, you know, a couple of places around, because whenever we would go around, like traveling to work or traveling back to his house, I would ask him like, what's this, what's that, what's this area, like the names, like tell me, you know. But in my head I knew I was, you know, starting to plan my escape plan. So what had happened this one day, I was like, you know what, I'm bored, I want to take a walk, so I want to stretch my legs, I want to see the area and stuff. So it's like, oh, okay, cool, no problem. Now I knew that I wanted to know, how does the local transportation work. So I walked towards the stop, you know, the stop sign, where I would see some local taxis dropping off people, picking up people. So I walked towards that area, because they had, like, you know, like those places where they sell itafula, where they sell like amakipkip. In Joburg they really love amakipkip, so they sell like Simba chips, all of those things. So I went there, and then I started to ask like the lady that was selling the stuff. I was like, oh, if I want to go to Orlando East, can I find a taxi here? They're like, yeah, sure, you can find a taxi here. And I was like, oh, really? They're like, yeah. So they explained to me how the process went, and I was like, so from Orlando East, can I find a taxi coming back to this area? They're like, cool, this is how you need to go about doing it. So I was like, sure. So I think to myself, actually this is a good way for me to not be close to this guy, because now I could feel that he was here, you know, he was just here. Like, you can tell when someone is, like, you know, when someone is nice, and when someone is nice in that way of, oh, actually you know, actually we could be a thing. You see, I stay alone, you just came, you can just be mine. or when someone is just like, oh, you need help, it's whatever, you know, chilled vibes. Maybe that person has a life going on, and that guy really didn't have much going on. I don't think he had friends. So I came into his life, and I think in his mind he was like, oh my god, sent from heaven. Can't you wait? Yo, Mina, I was already thinking to myself, I need to escape. So I started to speak to one of the ladies at work who was also a new teacher, but she was way older than me, but we came around the same days, like maybe 2 days apart. So we started speaking. I started to tell her like, yo, listen, I hate this vibe, it's giving, you know, offish vibe. So I started to tell her, and she's like, it's like, we need to abort this mission as soon as possible. But now problem is, she also just came, and she was staying with her daughter at the time, so she also didn't have money. So we were like, okay, cool, when we get paid, let's move in together and then share an apartment close to the school. She had a car, so we were like, okay, cool, we can do that. And then we start accumulating like furniture and stuff, and then we can go apart. And then that was the plan. So I tell the guy, this one random day, I'm like, actually tomorrow I think I'm going to take the taxi to work. And then he's like, you know, you can tell when someone is pissed, but then obviously he cannot tell me in the face. But then he's like, but it's not safe. And I'm like, how am I going to know that it's not safe unless I try? And then he's like, no, but you stay here with me, so you can't just decide to see. And I'm like, but I'm not gonna stay here with you forever. Like, this is a temporal situationship, you know? And then he's like, no, the thing is, and I'm like, I've already made up my mind, you know, and you're not gonna stop me. I feel like I want to know the area. I do not know anything about this area, and I feel like should anything happen to me, or should anything happen where I need urgency, how am I going to move around? I only know you, and if you're not here, I'm alone. So I need to know the area where I am. And obviously, because I'm going to be working here in Johannesburg for a while, so it makes sense that I know the area. Plus, I'm that person game, and I want to know the surroundings of where I stay. So the guy's like, oh, okay, whatever. And then he gets mad. So that's when the tension started. So, you know, this tension started to build up. Sometimes I'll talk to him and he'd be like, whatever. So I decided, okay, you know what, I'm going to continue with the public transport. But now problem is I didn't have all the keys to the house. So yeah, shit was about to hit the fan. So finally, there was the new arrangement. Sometimes I would ride with him, sometimes I'd take the taxi, sometimes I'd tell him, oh, I'm going to the mall, so you don't have to wait for me or whatever. You know, I tried by all means to not be with this guy a lot, because he really made me feel so uncomfortable, even though he didn't say anything or do like anything or touch me anyhow. But you can just tell, guys, you can always tell when someone is just giving off-ish vibes, or when he's giving you know, perverts-ish vibes, because he was young, but I think at that time he was approaching his late 20s, if not early 30s, because I was still very young. I was turning 21 that year, so I was very, very young. And then he was like, okay, cool, sharp. So that was the new arrangement, and then shit started to hit the fan. So sometimes I would go back and he wouldn't be there, and then I would have to wait for him outside. And then I realized, you know what, this is not on, it's not giving, I'm not happy. So I told the guy that arranged this whole thing, I'm like, yo, listen, this is the vibe, but do not tell him anything. I'm just telling you because obviously you did this arrangement. And he's like, so what's the plan? I'm like, yo, listen, if I get paid, the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to move out. And he's like, so like, let me know what's going to happen. I'm like, no, I'm gonna move in with so and so. And it's like, oh, that's actually a better plan. And I'm like, yo, but I'm also gonna give him some money, because obviously I was staying in his house, you know, like using his electricity and water. So the best thing I can do is just say thank you and give him some cash and stuff, even though maybe he didn't ask for it. But I could tell already, you know, guys, like I would go to work, and people are like, oh, so you no longer ride with Ulamin and stuff. And I was like, no, because I like being independent. I like moving around and stuff, and I like, you know, and we don't like the same things, so I don't like to be here around him all the time. And because also what made me feel so annoyed was that at work people would start saying like, oh, you know, like as if we are supposed to start dating, or we were supposed to, you know, they were starting to give us those vibes because we were staying together. And you know, people in Johannesburg, I think because there's that stereotype that a lot of women in Johannesburg are very loose, so maybe they thought, for sure they are shagging, you know, and stuff, but that was not the case. And I'm not sure what he told these people, like his colleagues, because obviously when I got to the school he was already teaching there for a while, so I'm not sure what conversations they were having behind my back. But all I know is that when I got paid, the same day I got paid, I moved out. I remember the money went in Tinti, and I spoke to my colleague. I was like, today we are moving out. After work we went through to find an apartment. We found an apartment. You know, guys, in townships it's easy to find a big door room, or those flats that have like your, you know, your in suits. It's easy to find those because most of the times they are available. As long as you have the money, you can even move in same time. As soon as you pay, you move in. So we were able to find what we did, we started looking for a place a week before, and then we made arrangements to move in as soon as we get paid. So when we got paid, we went after school to make a payment. We went during lunchtime because everything was so close by. We made the payment, we secured the place, and then after school we went to fetch my things, and then we went to buy a bed, and we were fine. But I'm still gonna share you guys a story of that. So after that period, when I moved out, I moved in with this lady, and we stayed together for like a month. I am going to share with you guys what happened during that month. Like one thing about me, I am never sharing space with someone who is not family, or someone who is not maybe my husband, because yes sis, people, the things that people do at night, yes sis. So anyway, now I'm diverging from the story time. So payday came, I obviously withdrew the money, and then we sat down together, and then I told my friend to obviously initiate the meeting. And then I told the guy, I'm so grateful, thank you so much for helping me out, I truly appreciate it, even though the vibes are not vibing right now, but I hope moving forward we are going to find our way to work together as colleagues. So this is a thank you gift. And then he was like, oh okay, cool, no problem, no, I don't have a problem with you. I was like, we are good, we are cool. And then from there it was just awkward, like we never spoke to each other, you know. We would like just chat or talk here and there, and especially in a setting where there's many people involved, but we hardly ever spoke. And I really didn't care because at that time I was already on my feet, so I didn't need him at that time anymore. But it was so awkward, like, you know guys, stay away from men. Try to stay away from men when you are given a chance. And if you do move to Johannesburg for work purposes and you find yourself in a similar situation whereby maybe you don't have money and you need, you know, help, be careful. Just be careful. Luckily for me, I was already mentally strong, I was emotionally strong and ready to attack should anything wrong happen. But the vibes were just not giving. Like I would actually cook, like it was just giving, the vibes were just off guys. It was just giving umahlalisana, umasiyakipita vibes, sajola vibes, couple vibes, and I just hated it so much because why? Like there was no need. But I understand he was a bachelor and I was this very beautiful young lady who just came, and I mean obviously at the time I was the target, but anyway he missed and I was able to dodge the bullets. And yeah, so that is the story time. And I think the next story time that I tell will be actually of the one of what actually happened after I moved in with my roommates. Yes. But anyway, I think, you know, me moving to Joburg, that was a lot. Like those few years were a lot. Like I was literally in Joburg for like 4 to 5 years, but wow, I have stories for days. I hope you guys really did enjoy this video, and if you are new, again, please subscribe to my channel, hit the notification bell, and like this video. Comment down below what would you do if you found yourself in a similar situation like I did, and what do you think about asking people for help, especially if you are moving into a new environment, let it be a new country, a new province, a new city. What's the vibe? Like, would you ask colleagues for help? Would you try, especially in my situation where I really had no money, I just finished university at home, the situation was really bad, so I had to come up with a plan. But provided that the situation is different or similar, what would you do? I hope that was a nice story. I will see you guys again on my next video. Goodbye.